Hola, mi gente. It is Lex, and thank you for tuning in. This is Thursday, January 14th, and before I begin, I wanted to give a quick shout out to two very special people in my life, my brother and sister, who it's their birthday today, and yes, they're twins. Some of you have already looked and watched at the video where my sister was in. You probably won't see my brother George because he's a little bit of a hermit crab and he's super shy, but shout outs to him. I love you, brother. I love you, sissy. And let's begin this video. So today is the first series segment. I'm not quite sure how to word it, but today is the first of my series where I'm gonna give special advice to all my ladies out there, and I've entitled this, Hey Girl, Hey. Now, I am not a certified counselor or anything, but your girl has had her share of life experiences. Plus, I'm gonna be pulling some wisdom from the Word of God to release it to y'all, and I hope that it helps. So if you have a question, you need advice in an area, I want you to comment down below, write me a tweet, write me an email, and you may be on the next segment, series, help me out, how should I word that, of Hey Girl, Hey. So today's advice is for every girlfriend out there that has been hurt. Unfortunately, hurt happens, and there is a wide variety, a wide spectrum, because hurt comes in so many different packages. Now, some of us have been hurt through abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, and then some have been hurt because of tragedies, things that have happened in our lives. Some have been hurt because of divorce. Some have been hurt because their prayers haven't been answered, or just they can't seem to catch a break and things don't seem to go their way. The truth is, this channel was started because of a hurt that I was going through, and I realized at that time that I only had a few, and when I'm talking about this is your hand, this is all I had, of the people that were with me in the times where I most needed them. And I realized the truth of the matter, not everyone that says they're gonna be there for you are. And walking through the hurt that I had to go through for several years, it made me develop this yearning to help people get up from where they are and realize that the best is still out there, not to stay where they're at, and be hopeful, because every night has to come to an end and the sun has to come up sometime. So this is why I wanted to make this my first video, because the truth is everybody goes through some kind of hurt or hurts in their life. But if you do not handle hurt the right way, it can mark your life in such a negative form that it will change who you really are and who you were created to be. So for this, I'm gonna pull out that great old book, Crushing by T.D. Jakes, and I'm gonna read some excerpts from chapter 9. Winemaking basically comes down to 3 steps: crushing the grapes, allowing the juice to ferment, and collecting the wine. Although it may feel like it will never end, our fermentation is really just a brief time of transition. Life won't always be like this. But if too much time passes, the juice becomes bitter. Now, I want you to know something really important. I am not trying to be insensitive to anyone's hurt out there, because I know how real it is. But now, coming from this side, I wish I could talk to my hurt self from my healed self. And so many times I find that people give up on what could be because of what was. So I do understand very well that what you may be going through right now, it may be so much, it may be so heavy, there may seem to be no way out, there may seem to be no cure, no remedy. But if I can talk to you today with a smile on my face, with hope in my eyes, with a joy in my soul, it's because I did not allow hurt to win. So there's a story in the Bible that is found in Ruth. Now, Ruth in the Bible is only 4 chapters, and if you have never read Ruth, or if you have read it, I'm going to challenge you to read it again this week because it is only 4 chapters. So in the book of Ruth, there is Ruth's mother-in-law, and Ruth's mother-in-law had some very high moments in her life. She was married to the love of her life. He was loving. He was a provider. They had 2 sons. They were strong. They also were loving. And her sons grow up and they marry 2 good girls. Life is good. And then all of a sudden, tragedy hits one day and her husband passes away. And just like us, when we go through hurt and we go through tragedy, we find this strength. Of course, many of us find our strength from the Lord, but there's this strength that we get that we're able to pick up the pieces and, try to get our lives back in order and preserve those good memories. So here she is, Naomi's putting her life together. Okay, I have my boys, I have my daughter-in-laws, I'm in this foreign land, but let's go. Well, about 10 years later, her 2 sons pass away as well. So here this woman is left, no husband, no children, no legacy. And maybe you that are watching right now, maybe that's where you're at and you feel like everything has been stripped from me. I have nothing left. I have nothing left to give. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I don't know how to move on from here. What's going to happen? How did this happen? Why did this happen? And you're stuck with all these questions, which I'm sure Naomi had in her heart. Now, the crazy thing is that Naomi means bliss, joy, and pleasant. She was living none of those things right now in her life. The Bible says that when she left the foreign land to go back to her homeland, that people recognized her and they shouted Naomi, and she told them, "Do not call me Naomi. Instead, call me Mara." And Mara means bitterness. After she made that declaration, she began to blame God for her suffering and for her emptiness. So that's why I'm coming here today, because I know that hurt has the power, has the potential to put us on this dangerous crossroad where we either choose joy or we choose bitterness. We choose to be consumed by what has hurt us, by what life has thrown at us, or we could choose a time to be healed. What she was feeling at this time was 100% genuine. This part of the story marks me because it is the part where people who knew her as Naomi now got to see a whole different side of her. And this is where today's advice is birthed from. I came to tell somebody, you were not called to be bitter. You were not called to stay broken. You were not called to die in your sorrow. Your life process wasn't meant to destroy your plans, your dreams. I came to tell you today, as someone who has had her share of hurts, from being hurt by her family, being hurt in school, being hurt in marriage, being hurt in ministry, being hurt in so many different ways. I came to tell you that all those things, that all those hurts, all those pains, all those afflictions did not kill me. What they did instead was bring me on this channel to tell you that it is not over. So for all my girls out there, here are 3 ways to deal with hurt that will change your life. Number 1, you did not choose to get hurt. I want to make that clear. I want you to understand you did not choose this. This was not something, many times when we are hurt, it's not something that we chose. It's not something that we provoked. And even though we cannot choose when or how or why we get hurt, we can definitely choose how long we stay in the hurt. So number 1, don't stay hurt. Choosing to stay in the hurt can take this process way longer than it should. Choosing to stay hurt is so toxic. It can maintain you in a place mentally and emotionally and spiritually that you were never meant to be in for this season or for this long. And what happens is it will suck everything that is good in you and all of a sudden replace it with things that are deadly, like bitterness. Nobody wants to be around a bitter person. And a bitter person has nothing positive to say about today, about tomorrow, about her life, about her thoughts, about things that are going to happen. So when you allow hurt to fester, when you allow hurt to linger, all of a sudden hope is displaced. You're unlovable and you're unwilling to love, and your view is altered. Allow me to talk into you right now. Say to yourself, I am not going to stay where I'm at. That is a choice. And you know what? It's so powerful that we have been given a sound mind, self-control, to be able to put ourselves in a place where we will not allow ourselves to stay hurt. Number 2, one day your hurt will become a weapon. The very thing that tried to destroy you will now be the thing that you will use to bring other people out of their hurt into their victory. There's 2 ways that I've learned to turn my hurt into a weapon. That is by moving forward and forgiving. You've heard it in the past, forgiveness is not for them, it's for you. And I cannot agree more. It is absolutely true. There's a reason why Jesus decides to, in the New Testament, tell us, forget about loving the people that love you back. That's easy. Now I'm going to tell you, love your enemies. There is something so powerful when you decide, I am not going to hold anything against anyone anymore. I'm going to release them from my life, from what they tried to do to me, and I'm going to forgive them. There's a transfer of power when you can do that. See, the person that wanted to hurt you, that tried to hurt you, when all of a sudden you say, you know what? Yes, you hurt me. Yes, it was sad. Yes, I cried. Yes, I wept. Yes, I couldn't eat. Yes, it was horrible. Yes, it was the most tragic thing ever. But today I'm going to choose to release it. Today I'm going to choose to forgive you. Today I'm going to say that the reason why you hurt me was because you're just hurt. You're just hurt, and hurt people hurt people. So therefore, I'm going to start praying that God will heal you where you're at so that you can be who he's called you to be. I'm no longer going to carry you in my life because I need to move on. You don't know how powerful your story is going to be and how many people it's going to touch and reach and lives are going to change simply because you decided to allow God to heal the hurt, to allow forgiveness to come through, and to allow a new day to begin. And now we come down to the last one, number 3. Do not allow your circumstances to pull you away from God. Now, it is written, Jesus said, in this world you will have much affliction, much trial, much tribulation. But then he says, but take heart because I've overcome the world. And then we have a promise that through him we are more than conquerors. So going back to Naomi's story, all of a sudden this woman comes back without a husband, without her sons, with only one daughter-in-law, and she's miserable. She makes a declaration, I am not the person who you remember. I am completely different. I have been sad, I have been hurt, I have been hopeless, and all of that has turned me bitter. Truly, God does not care about me. He has forgotten me. He has taken everything away. He has called this suffering to fall upon my life. Just leave me alone. What she didn't know, and what we don't know, is that God has a beautiful end to our hurt. Is that God can still change the bitter water to sweet water. What we don't know is the end of the story. And the longer we fester, the longer we remain in the pool of sorrow, we're never gonna see the end. Ruth came back. Naomi came back to her land. Not at just any time. She came back to her land at harvest time. And I just want to declare over you, no matter where you are right now in your hurt, that harvest season is coming. That means that we're leaving a place of desert. We're leaving a place that's barren, and we're entering into a season where every seed has to produce, where the land is ripe, where it's bountiful, where it's plentiful. And if you're out there right now and you're saying, I can't deal with this hurt anymore, I'm asking you to turn your face from becoming bitter in life and coming back to joy. At the end of her story, yes, her husband was not brought back to life. Her kids were not brought back to life. But what Naomi did receive was greater than what she could have had with her husband and her 2 sons. I hope that you heard what I just said. What she had planned for her life and what she was mourning, what she was hurt about, all of that was canceled because what was coming in chapter 4 all the way to the New Testament until today was so much better than what she could have ever dreamt for herself. So I know that the hurt hurts, because it does. But I promise you, if you choose not to stay there, if you choose to bring your hurt to the one that heals, to the one that brings life, to the one that has promise, he's going to turn it all around for something so much greater, so much bigger than what you ever had imagined. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave me a comment down below. Let your girl know that you are enjoying these videos and that you like my new segment series. Help me out. I really don't know how to say it. Hey girl, hey, it's here. Don't forget, if you want some advice on an area in your life and you need some wisdom, write your girl. I would be more than happy to feature it in a segment. You can even do it anonymous. Ain't nobody got to know your business. Un fuerte abrazo to all of you. Enjoy the journey. And don't forget, this is my time.